Good morning. David Beers here, Beers & Gordon, Oviedo, your personal injury law firm. I'm here today to talk about why you should not handle your own automobile accident claim. Many people, when they first have an automobile accident, and when they finally get their vehicle back, either at their house or if it's taken to a tow yard, they assume that they can handle this themselves. The reason they feel that way, we hear all kinds of excuses, but most of the reasons relate to, oh, it wasn't that serious a crash. My vehicle wasn't worth that much, so this should be able to be worked out among the insurance companies. Some of the others are, well, I'm not sure I was hurt, so I'm not sure I'll need a personal injury attorney. I'm sure my doctor can handle this. I've gone to a medical doctor or a chiropractor for years for treatment, so I'm sure whatever injuries I have, I can regain my health by following their directions and following their treatment path. Those are just some of the reasons that we hear to handle their own automobile accident claim. For purposes of your damage to your vehicle, even though there are fairly strict limitations on what you could recover, dollars are dollars. And just a short consultation with us may give you the information you need to negotiate on your own your property damage claim and frankly be to the benefit by several $100s, in some cases thousands of dollars. And so even when you don't think you're going to pursue a personal injury claim, it would be best to talk with a personal injury attorney, and we're happy to do that as a free consultation. Probably the most important reason to confer with a personal injury attorney pretty much right after an automobile accident claim arises is that the insurance company, in this case, for example, your own insurance company, as well as the at-fault motorist insurance company, they're going to begin the process of developing their defense to your injury claim immediately, just like that. So they're going to request recorded statements, and you do not want to give a recorded statement to the insurance company for the at-fault party. You don't want to do it at all, but if you're going to do it, you certainly should have an attorney present and listening in on the phone to make objections, because the adjusters are trained to ask questions, for example, about time and distance estimates in automobile collisions that may affect a determination of fault later. So you're going to want to make sure that you've had at least a consultation and not try to handle it yourself. The other reason is many times if you go to a doctor right away, or you may be coming through an emergency room and they say, we'll just go back to see our hospitalist for orthopedic care, for example, those doctors may or may not be as patient advocates as we have learned in our years here in the Oviedo Winter Springs market and the Metro Orlando market generally. Other doctors may be more patient-oriented, may be more patient advocate-oriented, and so we would prefer that you consider treatment with those doctors as contrasted with someone that you just were assigned to because of the circumstances of where the accident occurred and what treatment you had right away, urgently, as a result of the severity of the crash. If you do not seek advice from a personal injury law firm and you're trying to handle this claim yourself, you're really proceeding without sufficient information to get the best outcome that you can have, and you may make significant mistakes. Both in, for example, you can say things in the recorded statement. We see this all the time where the client hires us weeks after the accident when they realize, uh-oh, the insurance company for the at-fault motorist says the guy wasn't at fault. Now, the police officer thought he was at fault. There was a traffic crash report completed. There was a traffic ticket issued to the at-fault motorist. Gosh, I never expected this. Well, one of the things, if it's a serious crash, we're going to, if you retain our law firm, we're going to get on top of it right away. We're going to find out if there's a so-called electronic data recorder in the vehicle. We're going to demand that that be downloaded so that we can determine the speeds. We're going to make sure that all the measurements appear to be accurate. If they're not accurate, we're going to hire an accident reconstruction firm. That's a group of engineers and people who work with them who are trained to make sure they have all the other evidence preserved from the scene of the crash. So all of those are extremely important issues in serious crashes. One of the issues that we find that clients have challenges with when they're trying to handle the automobile insurance claim themselves are the insurance issues. For example, why is the no-fault company, your own insurance company, why aren't they paying 100% of my bill? Why are they only paying 80% of the bill? What's about this 20% gap? Who's going to pay that? How am I going to get that taken care of? This is the kind of thing that we would take care of if you retain our law firm. We also will be evaluating how much insurance there is on the other side. Florida has a, has a very developed law in terms of tort law. A tort is simply a civil wrong, something someone did that a reasonably prudent person acting under law, like in similar circumstances, would not have done. For example, running a red light is the easiest example. And Florida law is well developed on the liability parts of it, but the evidence must support what you're trying to establish to recover money damages. By handling it themselves, not volitionally mishandling it, but just because they didn't know certain factors that are going to be important in the outcome of the case, they put themselves in a position where they may not recover as much as they should. Perfect example is they didn't get an EDR download. We had a case fairly recently where a nice lady who we knew from the past, she used to work for another lawyer, and when the accident happened, she called us because we used to handle cases referred to us by that attorney. And she was making a simple left turn that she had made hundreds of times on a 4-lane highway. She looked, she was driving about 5 or 10 miles an hour as she goes through this intersection, and unbeknownst to her, a vehicle that was well down the road, the highway facing her, that vehicle came from behind another vehicle at a rate of speed estimated at 34 miles an hour over the posted limit, and ran directly into her without any indication of braking whatsoever. Well, obviously, from this perspective of the police officer, he didn't charge anyone, but his feeling was, well, she was almost through the intersection, but she's making a left turn there in front of his right-of-way. But by our ability to obtain the EDR downloads, the insurance companies completely flipped their analysis of the liability facts, and we were able to recover something very fair for her in light of the injuries, solely because we could prove most, if not all, of the negligence in causing the crash was the excessive speed of that driver who was using the lane, the so-called slow lane, to make a passing maneuver. Well, from our point of view, the most important thing is how the family in a serious crash is handling the emotions from the loss of a loved one. We have handled many, many wrongful death cases, and in the initial stages, right after the tragedy, there are frequently mistakes made by family members because they are not aware of what is going to occur with the traffic homicide investigation and how that's going to impact on the civil rights of the survivors of the decedent. So from our perspective, contacting us, with very shortly after the crash is the best opportunity we will have to make sure that the traffic homicide investigation is complete, or if it's not complete, that an accident reconstruction engineer and his team that we retain, and therefore we protect under the attorney-client work product doctrine, is going to be working to benefit the family. So if you have been involved in a motor vehicle accident, and this could be you or a family member or a close friend, someone that you think is important that they get the best information about their rights, please have them call Beers and Gordon in Oviedo, Florida, free consultation, 407-862-1825.